In this session, we are going to see how to attach an additional EBS volume to a running EC2 instance. So we have an EC2 instance which is already up and running, and we want a new volume attached to it, probably because you're running out of space, or you want to add you're going to be installing an application and you want that application to be installed on a entirely separate volume. So how to do that? All right, so let's see that in this particular demonstration. So I have an instance which is already up and running here, and let me go and check it out, and I'll check on the storage here, and we see that there is one root device which is attached, and it is a EBS volume. Okay, so there is only one attached volume to it. Now let me go and create a additional EBS volume first. Okay, so to do that, go to your Elastic Block Store, click on volumes, and you should see this. All right, now here you will see a list of all the volumes which is available on your account for this particular region. All right, so remember, EBS volumes cannot span across regions. EBS volumes cannot span across availability zones. So please keep in mind this. Yeah, so they cannot span across regions, they cannot span across availability zones. So if I'm creating a EBS volume for a specific instance, then that instance has to be within the same availability zone. Okay, so the EBS volume and the instance have to be within the same availability zone. This is the requirement of EBS. And EBS cannot span across multiple instances, which means that one EBS instance can be attached only to one running instance. So if you want to attach a volume to multiple instances within the same availability zone or within a region, in that case you have to go for the EFS, and EBS cannot do that. All right, so let's check out the EBS now. So the next part we'll be seeing the EFS in detail, but now let's focus on the EBS only. All right, so as a first step, let me go and create a volume. But before creating this, let me go and check the EC2 instance, which the region in which the availability zone and the region in which it is created. Okay, so we have the details, instance details here, and we can look from here. Okay, so it is on the US East 1C. So you have to make sure that your EBS volume is also created within the US East 1C. Okay, let me now go and create volume. All right, so if you can change whichever type of volume you want, but you see that you will be getting two additional type of EBS volumes here, which is the cold HDD and throughput optimized HDD. All right, you will not be getting this when we are spinning up the instance for the first time. You will be normally getting only the GP2, GP3, IO1, IO2, and the magnetic. For some reason, magnetic was taken out, but then they have added it again here. So yeah, other than that, cold HDD and throughput optimized HDD will be visible only when you're creating the EBS instance, EBS volume separately. All right, I'll leave it at GP2. And size, yeah, you can go up to a maximum of 16 TB here. Okay, but I'm not going to go that big here, so I'm going to keep it at another 8 GB only. All right, or let's keep it as 2 GB. Okay, because we just want to see that how it is getting attached and dump in some data and test on it. So I'll keep it as 2 GB because the provisioning will be faster, and it's going to be a lot quicker for the purpose of this demonstration. And remember, we have to put it in the same availability zone as the instance to which we are going to attach this. So US East 1C is here. Good. So now, do I want to create a snapshot for this? No, I do not want to create a volume from this snapshot. So this is used for creating a snapshot of another volume and dumping onto this. So we are not going to do that. Okay, so we are just going to create a empty EBS volume. And encryption option is here. If you want to encrypt this, we can encrypt this, and you would need a KMS key. KMS is key management system key, so we are not going to do that at the moment. All right. And if you want to add some tags here, to keep it more defined, so I can keep it something like attached server, and I'll call it as demo server 1, to which I'm going to attach it, so that we can reference to it later. Okay, so let me go ahead and create a volume. Okay, so now the volume is getting created. You can see it is getting created here. Okay, and it is also in the US East 1C. Now we will have to give it some time. Okay, the reason that I gave a very small size is because we want the provisioning to be quick. All right, now you see that it has got provisioned. You see the volume status is available. It is not in use. In use is the volume which is already attached to the instance. All right, and data is IO is happening. But in this case, it is available, which means that it is not attached to any instance at the moment. You can see here the attached instances is nothing here. So we don't have any instance. We have not attached the EBS volume to any instance. Okay, so to attach this to an EC2 instance, before that, let's go and log into the instance. I'm going to use the EC2 instance connect. All right, let me connect to the instance now and become the root user, because all these tasks will be can be performed only from the root user. And here let me run this command lsblk. So when I run this lsblk, I can see that there is only one device which is attached to it, which is xvda. So we look at the instance details and storage, we see that the root device is the xvda of size 8 GB. All right. So now I'm going to attach the second instance. So to attach this, what I have to do is check the box. All right. Go to actions and click on attach volume. So once you click on attach volume, you will get this page, and it will show you all the instances which are available within the US East 1C where you can attach the EBS instance. So it is showing me this instance there. So that is BBFCC4. Please always reference with the last 5 or 6 digits for referencing the instance ID, because you will need the instance ID at many places. Let's go and verify this. Okay, so the instance ID is BBFCC4. So that was yeah. So just to make sure that we are attaching it to the right instance, and you see you have the device name. By default, it is giving you SDF. Okay, so if you look here, it is showing you XVDA, which means that is the root device, and the additional volumes which we are attaching can be named through SDF to SDP. It will be named as SDF here, but let's see what's happening. Okay, I'm going to click on attach volume, and it has changed to in use now, which means it is now attached to the instance. So let me go and run the lsblk. So when I run the lsblk, I can see that it is attached to the it is attached as the xvdf. Remember, here when we created it, it was showing the SDF, but when we when we are going to run the lsblk from the instance, you will be seeing it as xvdf. So yes, the disk is attached. So can I go and access the disk? Can I do work on the disk yet? No, we cannot do the work yet. So how can I do that? For that, we need to mount this particular volume which we have created. So how am I going to mount this volume? Okay, let's see that in a moment now. All right, now the first step that we have to perform is we have to create a file system on top of this particular volume. So why do we create a file system? We already know that, because we create a file system which, is understandable by the Linux operating system. So we are going to use a file system name which is called as the XFS file system. So how am I going to do that? I'm going to use the command mount. Sorry, that is first is mkfs -t xfs dev, because we know that, if you remember the files and directories session that we did, all the devices which is attached to the machine will be listed under the /dev directory. So /dev/ and you have to mention the disk which we have attached now, so which is xvdf. So I'm creating a file system, and I'm going to create an XFS file system on top of the dev xvdf. Okay, we hit enter, and that was successfully created. So what happened here was, metadata information is there, the inode size is there, then the crc value is there, then the block size of 4 KB it is showing. So all this information we can see here. Now we have created the xvdf file system on top of the xvdf volume. Let us run lsblk again. You see that it is still not available. I cannot still access it. Okay, so now the step is that we have made the device understandable by the Linux operating system. So to mount the, now the next step is to mount the volume. And to mount the volume, what we have to do is we have to first create a directory within the Linux operating system. So you can create the directory anywhere and you can mount it. All right. So for the purpose of this demonstration, I'll use it from the root device. So the first step is I'll call it as mkdir/new vol1. You can create it even under the home/vroot1, or you can create under the home/EC2 user. You can create it and mount it anywhere that you want. All right, but I am going to create it under the root directory, and I'm going to create a volume which is called as the new vol1. That is my way of doing it. So if your organization has a method, or your client has a method of identifying their volumes, follow the same naming strategy. All right, so mkdir new volume1. So the next step is, now I have a volume created, and I have the file system set up on it, and I've created a directory. So all I have to do is point the disk to the mount directory. All right, so how do I do that? It's very simple. Mount /dev/xvdf. That is the one that we created, right? Yes. Then space /new vol1. So that's mount space the device name space the volume where I want to mount it. Well, it is successfully mounted. I did not see any error, which means that it is successfully mounted. So what I can do right now is I can just cd to new vol1, and the volume is accessible. If I see any information there, no, there is no file, there are no directories. So let me create a file here. I'll call it as text1.txt, text2.txt, text3, call it as test1.txt. okay, test1.txt. This one I'll call it as test2.txt, test3.txt, test4.txt. So I'm trying to create 4 empty files within this directory. Now ls-lrt, and I can see the 4 files which are there. But remember, the files are empty files. I have no values within them. So let me just go and put in some junk information in there. Okay, let me put in the uptime info into the test1.txt. okay, lsblk information I'll put it into test2.txt. then df-h information I'll put it into test3.txt, and I'll put in the cron tab -l information into the test4.txt. okay, so these are all the information, and I have put it stored into the different files. Okay, now cat text1.txt, cat test2.txt. good. Okay, there is no cron tab for that one, so yeah, let's let's just put in some information like echo hello user, or we'll do this. We'll put in the echo dollar path and let's dump it into test 4.txt. Okay, so cat test 4, and I have the path information stored there. Okay, so this is the method that we are going to follow to have a EBS volume created and attached to an Linux instance manually. All right. Okay. Thank you very much for watching this session and see you in the next session.